Hello, everyone. How's it going? My name is Thomas Williams of BroadStreetHockey.com, joined by the lovely folks over here at the prospect coverage. We've been giving you 6-8 weeks, however long it's been. Maddie Campbell, Jacob Russell, Cole Keller. How's it going, everyone? We are here for the mock draft. How pumped are we?
So excited. Ready for it to be done.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. Things are finally happening. So I'm like very ready. Yeah.
I mean, no, we're heading into the busiest season of the year. Sorry, Jacob. I don't know if you were going to say something, but okay. Oh, there's something in the private chat. I don't know if you can only hear Cole. Okay, that's perfect. That's going on. Okay, Jacob's gonna leave and come back. Before he comes back, let's get some like general thoughts about how everything's going with the draft, like how the whispers, the winds are turning, everything. Like, what are some initial impressions of like what the first round is going to be? How about you?
Yeah, there seems to be, at least with the Flyers pick, like two camps between like traditional, like national, like, oh, the Flyers aren't going to go with the smaller skilled guy like James Higgins, versus the kind of the quiet rumbles of like, hey, the Flyers met with Higgins. Maybe this is more of a possibility than people think, even though they just acquired another relatively small center type with Trevor Zegras. So I don't know. It's really interesting. I think we're going to find out a lot about Danny Briere and like the Flyers' overall drafting strategy heading into Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of talked about this in our chat, but it seems like this is also going to be a test of like how plugged in are the insiders really, and how much are they just sort of like feeding on probably outdated narratives at this point, based on how this pick goes in actual reality.
Yeah, like I think I saw something about like all the mock drafts that we're seeing of like the Athletic and whatever and other sites. It's just like, oh yeah, Flyers, big bag mean Flyers are going to take X player because they need size and someone that hits well. But yeah, like you said, Matt, it's very outdated narrative. We're gonna see if Jacob comes on, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and not waste any people's time with doing this. Let's have our own little fun draft lottery. I was gonna do this before, and now I forgot because I was on a different computer. Randomizer. Yeah, perfect. Okay. We're doing great here. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing things behind the scenes that no one can see because it's all secret. Someone tell me if Jacob joins. I don't see anyone. Okay. We are here on the, oh my God, if my screen could get shared. Here we go. This is our own draft lottery. So deciding who's gonna pick first, second, and third. Let's spin the wheel again. Okay, Jacob's not here. We're waiting to hear. Haven't heard anything. Okay, let's just do it. This is exciting. Who's gonna get the first pick?
Boy, oh boy.
It looks like it's Maddie. Okay, Maddie, you have the first selection, and we're just gonna go in order. So every third pick or whatever you're gonna have.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting the confetti.
Me neither. And then I will have the second pick. Okay. So. Oh my God, there's so much confetti. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and then Cole, you also have the third pick. So if someone wants to talk for like literally 5 seconds or a minute as I put down the names in our sheet, just general vibes of the draft and everything like that. Let me just I'm doing some producer stuff.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I guess after the top three, or for the top three, there seems to be a general consensus, and the draft seems to start at 4, just because the order has been a little bit confused the last couple of days because there's been some reports that San Jose might prefer Frundell over Misa, but it seems like it's going to go Schaefer, Misa, Frundell, because Chicago seems dead set on especially Frundell. But
yeah,
if Misa somehow gets to them, I'm sure that would be the slam dunk pick as well. So the draft really seems to start at 4. So I think our first 3 picks are going to be pretty chalk.
Yeah. Easy for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Less draft related, just for everybody watching related. I have 2 cats just sort of hovering at the outside of the frame in the room with me, so I'm very excited to see if we have any extra guest appearances here.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh my god. Okay, update from Jacob. Not sure. He gets background obviously, but by voice all cut out. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna tell him to try to join. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Okay, perfect. What's up, everyone? We are starting the official draft. Let's share this screen. Let's go. Perfect. Okay. So I hope everyone has their lists, has their little board rankings. I am going off on this vibes. I think Cole, you were saying going off on vibes as well. So if we completely just miss someone and totally forget someone, it is not our fault, although it is. Maddie, you have the first selection of the 2025 NHL entry draft representing the Islanders. Who do you think is going to be the Islanders pick?
Wow, I really wonder. It's going to be Matthew Schaefer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to put Schaefer right away. Okay. Anything more on like the thought process of that pick?
No. That's just it.
Okay. I mean, it's easy. If you're watching this as a mock draft and you don't already like have an understanding of why he's going first, then I think, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Just dynamic, all around defenseman. And then I am gonna gladly take Michael Misa with my pick. Again, just you know what you're getting in Misa. You're getting probably a decent point per game guy at the very least. I think that's his most projectable level. Yeah, and in San Jose, it's a perfect situation of you either have him behind Celebrini or Celebrini's wing, and Will Smith is behind Celebrini on the center depth. So it's just like you get another very dynamic forward to add to that group. Now, Cole, with Chicago, this again, you said kind of this is where a little bit of the draft opens up, but it could be obvious. Who do you have the Blackhawks taking?
Yeah, I think it'll be Anton Frundell. They seem to really, really like the ability to go Frundell, Bedard down the middle. If not, Frundell on Bedard's wing. So I really think that Frundell is probably the pick, especially when you pit him against some of the other guys they might pick, like a Desnoyers or I don't think Brady Martin will be picked at 3. But I think it starts at 4. But if they're looking for a high-end skill, I think Frundell probably has like the highest skill left in the draft at that point with his shot. So that's probably where they're going to go.
Yeah, and it just again you said like it matches up with the skill. So yeah, Blackhawks. I think it's easy assumption from what we have heard so far. Maddie, you have the Utah Mammoth at 4. Very interesting pick.
Yeah, I'm still sort of at this point where I want to go best player available, so I'm kind of leaning Martone.
Okay.
But what do we think?
This is your pick.
Oh, okay. I'm open to discussion.
I mean, yeah, I think Martone makes sense for both Utah and like at this in general ranking of the draft too. It gives them a big body that they want. It gives them a player that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise if they didn't win the lottery and jump up to 4. So I think it's a good, solid bet that they'll take Martone, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with all the smoke around them wanting Martin. I think it really might be more just they want big physical body, as Thomas said, to play behind guys like Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley. So I think Martone's a fair bet there as well.
Yeah, it'd be nasty. Like Martone's gonna join the team before the next season's done, and it's gonna be like Martone, Gunther, Keller. That's nasty. Probably a playoff team. I have Nashville. I am going to They need a center. I know that. So now it's like Higgins or Denoyer. I think Higgins is dropping too much in recent mocks for me to take him up here seriously from what we're all kind of like hearing and everything. So I think Denoyer is the pick from here. Again, solid center, a very Nashville type player, like Paul Gostad plus kind of guy. You're gonna win battles. You're gonna get it's like a safe bet. And again, Nashville doesn't want to be down here, so they get a player that could be like basically what they wanted maybe Fedor Svechkov to be that they drafted not too long ago. Just like and Ryan O'Reilly there. They're building suddenly a core of like very thoughtful centers. Again, an interesting pick, but not the high ceiling pick, but that's kind of Nashville. Cole, you have the wonderful Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, lucky me. This is kind of exactly what we said at the beginning of the pod. I mean, this is the exact situation that played out, that the national and the local writers are kind of seemingly fighting over a little bit. I would say this is Higgins here.
Yeah,
I think that just based on what we know and also like recently what's been happening. I mean, if they're going to sign Shabanov, if they're going to trade for Zegras, if they're going to have these small guys in the pipeline like Barkey, like I guess even Brink as well. I get the sense that they would not be against a James Hagan pick just because of the size. As he said the other day, Briere said size is only one little part of it. I think they end up going with just the highest end skilled guy here, best player available, and don't worry about the rest, because they don't think they're going to have another chance to pick in the top 10 for quite some time. So,
truly shocked to see that Danny Briere is not overly concerned about size in players.
Really? That's crazy. Maddie, the Boston Bruins at 7.
That's got to be Martin, right? Like he just feels like such a Bruin.
Yeah. No, yeah, it totally like I totally agree. I think it makes sense from their team philosophy and then also their position of need because they need centers as well. They're gonna desperately try to keep him at center. So yeah, I think that just makes perfect sense. I have Seattle. This is where it kind of gets interesting for me because a lot of the centers are gone. Generally, like you have like you get into that next level of centers. Like obviously you have O'Brien and everything like that, but I don't know if Seattle would want O'Brien because they have like Catton who plays a very similar playmaking game. So, and they haven't really taken a defenseman except like Riker Evans is their like actual defenseman prospect that they've met and like gotten there. So I think I am going to take. I think this is. They like thoughtful players, so I'm not thinking Jackson Smith. I am thinking Rodney Murka here. I think it just. Hello, Cat. I think it just makes sense for them to take a defenseman at this point because they're also like in that mold of like they could take a player in a position of need, and then also you get a super toolsy guy in Murka. The general consensus is higher than we have him. You can see on our previous draft ranking video, it's probably somewhere on our channel. I'm gonna go to the live section that we did last week, whatever it was. We're kind of down on Murka, but I think that there's holy shit. Carolina might trade for Thomas Hurdle. Okay. Cam Robinson just tweeted. Anyways, I think it just makes sense. Position need. Seattle's in that position to do that. Local guy, Thunderbirds player. They had a lot of looks at him. I think that's just one where I could put that in there. Cole, the Buffalo Sabres.
Mirko was going to be my pick for them. However, I think that's like the chalk pick, as we've talked about numerous times. I think I'll go with McQueen here. Okay. I don't think there's a ton of pressure on Buffalo with this pick in the way that there's typically pressure on teams in their position, just because they have so many young guys on that roster. That's not the problem. The problem is everything else. So I think that they can give McQueen a lot of time, similar to like Anaheim, for example. Even though those teams appear to be heading in different trajectories, I think that they're still able to give McQueen that time. So I'm going to go with McQueen here. I think that they'll take that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely makes sense because they're in that position where it's size too. Like imagine McQueen and Tage. Like if McQueen actually actualized, that's gonna be fun. Maddie, Anaheim Ducks at 10th overall.
I had been sort of thinking defenseman for them, but given that they've now moved Zegras out, I do wonder if they want to now get at least another sort of top end center in the pipeline. So I'm kind of leaning O'Brien here.
Yeah. Yeah, like it totally makes sense. Oh God, if I can spell his name.
I feel like by that point he has to go too. Like this is like the limit I see him like dropping, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just noticed the guy in the comments. That's crazy. Yeah. He's having a not good time. Okay. I had the sheet blocking the comments. Okay.
There's a lot going on over there.
Whatever, dude. Okay. Sorry, the Penguins. And we just learned that the Penguins are going back to back in these picks. So I think that affects a lot of their strategy and going with it. So I think McQueen in the real world, if McQueen's around here, I think that's definitely like a possibility. Just to take that risk. I think now you take Jackson Smith because I think that's just a defenseman that, again, they took Owen Pickering, kind of a similar mold, toolsy guy that's tall, later and less of a high ceiling, of course. But I like the Jackson Smith kind of mold, and Dubas definitely takes like tools, and then you figure out the hockey sense later kind of player. So I could definitely see Penguins easily liking Jackson Smith here. Cole, the second Penguins pick.
Similar kind of thinking there with Dubas and liking tools and then figure out the rest later. I think Lakovic might be a pick there. I saw Wheeler just reported that they have had a little bit extra attention to Lakovic and they like him a lot. So I do wonder if that's a fit there as well, just because of the raw physical tools that like Lakovic possesses. So yeah,
no, it definitely makes sense. And Lakovic definitely like is the counteracting of super smart guy, super smart prospect to Jackson Smith, like not super on ice. Like we'll get there. Sorry, I'm like adjusting things. But yeah, I do really like that pick. Now we have Maddie with the Detroit Red Wings.
This one, I feel like it's a fit that makes sense, but also this is another one of those, like, this is as far as I can see this player falling for me. And that would be Eklund.
Okay. And I've seen people think about Detroit and Eklund before just because of this whole Sweden thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want my coffee. Okay. Yeah, I think Eklund just makes so much sense. Again, small, tenacious winger. You kind of they've drafted so much of floor players like a Nate Nadelson and Brent Nygaard and everything like that. I think they could definitely use someone with a little bit of a higher ceiling, and they'll just run up to take them. So the Blue Jackets. I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think this is one of the easier pairings that I can think of, and I'm taking Carter Bear here. I think Columbus could use that type of player to counterbalance like a Kent Johnson guy that's super skilled, and then like thinking about Bear and Fantilli together is just nasty. And then you get like a playoff performing esque player for a team that hopes to consistently be around there in the future. So, yeah, I think it's a real lovable team player partnership, and I'm sure they're thinking about it too over there in Columbus. Cole, the Vancouver Canucks at 15. They might trade this pick before even the stream is done, but
yeah, I was about to say, can I just trade the pick? But I don't know. I think it's a little too complicated for the stream.
I think we want to like, I was thinking about having the full mock draft experience of like, oh yeah, this player, you trade this and then do this, but that'd be so messy. We're already having multiple hands with production, but
yeah. So I guess if they stay, I think they might go Aitchison. This is like where I begin to see where Aitchison could go. Also, just based on like, I think Jim Rutherford would like Kashawn Aitchison a lot. And he's not a bad guy to slot next to or slightly behind Quinn Hughes, at least in the next couple of years, as kind of like that meaner presence on that pair, if not behind him. So I could see them really liking him.
Yeah, and even with a little bit of insulation with like Marcus Pettersson, you start him a third pair guy, like even the other Elias Pettersson too. Like you see if one of them can work on the right side, and then suddenly you have a very like the younger defenseman Elias Pettersson is very like physical, way more physical than like he really people assumed. So I kind of love that pairing, and I could definitely see it happening. Maddie, sorry,
they have too many Petterssons.
I know.
That's insane. Yeah,
I think there's like another one in this draft too, like later on.
I hope they get him.
Yeah, I really hope so. Maddie, the first of two Montreal Canadiens picks at 16 and 17. So the 16th overall. Who are you thinking?
You know, with two picks back to back, I feel like we're bound to get one like that's so Canadiens pick. And
I already have a name in mind. If you're not taking this guy, and someone already just put it in the chat with a very French name.
Yeah, it's Carbonneau.
Yeah. Why would they love Justin Carbonneau? Beside that, he's his last name or his name.
I mean, that's a big part of it. But I think kind of a toolsy, like gonna be a longer development path guy, sure, but like with this, there's another cat trying to come into the frame. Sorry. Excess of picks that they're sort of working with here, like they can take a shot on a guy who's like maybe not necessarily a slam dunk, and just if he hits can sort of outperform perhaps where they've got him.
Yeah, I think he's like the perfect balance to a Demidov. Like you get him, you could see in 2 years you're thinking about like all these Habs Twitter accounts hyping him up as like, oh, he's going to come and make this playoff push after he like goes to college and finishes up or whatever. And I think it's a very like, even if his name was like Bob Jones, I think he's a very decent option for Montreal at this point. So it's just like an added bonus. I think I am going to counteract the Carbonneau pick with so he's like a highlight reel machine. I think I love. They took Michael Hage already, so I don't know if they want a center. I think they are one of the teams that would reach for a defenseman, and with Aitchison, Smith, and Mertka already gone, it could be a Cameron Reed, but I don't know if they want a Reed Hudson long-term thing. So I'm going to take Logan Hensler here. Again, totally possible in this range, but you're getting a potential long time, like a Brian Rafalski to Nicholas Lidstrom forever kind of guy, and Hensler to Hudson. Like you're getting this potential future super smart partnership. And Hensler is already older, so I could totally see him literally joining the Habs if they're like on a playoff push next season after 2 years at Wisconsin. So I think Hensler's a really and totally just like Wisconsin connection with Caulfield as well. Not that really matters, but it's an added little thing. He played for Wisconsin, right? I'm not like making that up.
No, you're right.
Okay, thank God. Jesus. I was like, was it Boston University? I was thinking red and white. Jesus, I had a panic attack
just
there.
The
okay,
panic
cool.
setting in.
Yeah,
in real time.
It's just like, oh no, my credibility. No, I can't remember Cole Caulfield went to college. Cole, the Flames.
Yeah, I think I guess for similar reasons. I think not that means anything, but I think they're gonna go with Ben Kindle.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a little high, but I do think the skill set is there more than most people left at this point. Like high end could pop. skill set. He plays with the Calgary Hitmen. It's a very loose, doesn't mean anything type of thing. But I'm sure they've had ample opportunity to watch him over the last couple of years. So I think that they might go Ben Kindle here, just for an upside play.
Yeah, like you have they like took Luke Misa, Henry Muse, like a lot of more like third line potential guys, middle pairing. I think upside play of Kindle, I think is really awesome to see. So, Maddie, the St. Louis Blues.
They're one I could see kind of, I don't want to say like reaching, but like maybe a little bit for a defenseman. So I would say Reed here.
Yeah.
Just like pretty well-rounded. Could see him fitting in pretty nicely there.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Like I think Blues are definitely wanting a defenseman after like having Dvorak and everything, not Dvorak, Dvorsky as their other pick and everything like that, and top prospect. So I think a defenseman for the Blues totally makes sense.
Yeah, and they're in kind of this position where it's like, if we're seeing a little bit of a run on defensemen, they kind of have to pick just whoever's the best of the rest. So for me,
yeah,
like probably Reed.
You could see a fiddler up here if they're all gone. You could see a like even they might even reach for a Boumedienne or a Limitov or something like that. I could totally see that, especially at like 20. That's where you kind of get into the thing of sorry, that Hurdle trade actually did happen. I think it is happening.
Oh,
that's fucked. Okay. Hurricanes just got Thomas Hurdle, I guess.
Oof.
Okay. Okay. Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm rattled because I'm getting news. 20th overall for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think this is the end of the run. I love the Blue Jackets apparently. I took Bear earlier. A very smart player, a very aggressive player. I don't know if I want to take a swing here or what. Fuck it. Okay. Cole Rushdie. I think this is a very good option to have him here. Their forward group is getting larger. Like you could have it like Fantilli's not small at all. You're getting a Bear, you get a Vorodkov is massive. All the Russian players are big. Porchenko, everything like that. I think you could definitely insulate Rushdie, and he's such a smart player and such a different pace to what Columbus is building that I think it's an easy bet to make. I think at 20th overall, and I think Columbus would laugh and skip and love taking him at that pick.
Yeah.
Cole, the Ottawa Senators. Now you have to think about the Ottawa Senators. They suck at drafting. Now, who is the worst pick you could take here? Or most like reach?
Well, this is the guy I've been fearing for the Flyers, but so I'm going to go with Jack Nesbitt. Yeah, that feels like a Senators pick. And if I'm gonna like sell Nesbitt as like a good player, I would say, like he's more of a physical presence. He kind of fits that mold of forwards that they seem to like. Good, biggish two-way guy. So I feel like not a big upside play, but that's kind of classic Senators.
You know what's actually kind of crazy that I just realized? Jack Nesbitt is very Logan Brown-esque. And Logan Brown went to Windsor too. Like, it's fucked. Sorry, I'm just like realizing this. He's very Logan Brown, and of course that was the Ottawa Senator. And now he's out of the league, and I think playing in Europe somewhere at like 26. So that's a great news for Jack Nesbitt. Maddie, the Philadelphia Flyers at 22, their second pick. Who do you think that they're gonna be taking here?
I feel like I'm like of two minds. I'm like, do we want to switch it up positionally because they've already sort of been targeting centers?
I mean, if the board's falling this way, I have a real small, like a strong name in mind for them.
That said, I really like Braden Coots.
Yeah.
I think just stylistically makes a ton of sense for what I hesitate to say like what they're trying to build towards, because like I don't really know what their system's going to look like next year, but it just feels like a very Flyers pick. Also, I see in the comments 2 Coots, underrated element here. Can't forget that.
I mean, yeah, like it just feels so realistic that if the board falls this way, I think they're running up to take Coots. Like super smart center. Well, it's probably in this range the most logical conclusion, and like will stick down the middle 100%.
Yeah.
Like I love Reshty as a center, but he's already gone because he's just so smart. But yeah, I think Coots is just an easy bet to make, and like he's going to be your third line center for the rest of the time, and could be a second line center if he kind of pops off. And speaking to that, with the 23rd overall, the Nashville Predators are going to take, I think they need forwards so badly. I'm not going to take a defenseman here, although Fiddler is really nice. Let's take they already took Denoyer. I think a perfect partnership. If Denoyer can't skate super well, I think a Cullen Potter here is a good bet to make. Nashville decently likes their college guys. They like their smaller centers to partnership with the kind of a more sizable back end. So I think having a Cullen Potter here, even as a winger, a real soft, easy bet to make at 23, and I think it's going to work out for them. Cole, the LA Kings at 24.
Yeah, I think you were thinking about Fiddler with Nashville. I'm pretty sure Fiddler's not going to make it past this like mid-20s range. Yeah. He seems to be like, I guess, along with Bometti and like the last first round grade defenseman available. And I think like eventually some team in the 20s is going to get a little jittery and pick I think one of the safer defensemen in the draft, just because he's 6'4", he can skate, he's pretty smart with the puck. He feels just like a rock solid like number 4 who could be better, because he's pretty young. He's one of the younger defensemen in this draft cycle, so there's still a lot of runway there, and he's in a pretty favorable development situation in with the Edmonton Oil Kings. So I don't know. I think they're gonna like him.
Yeah, I think the Kings there is a real good fit, and like they're already thinking about like they want to trade Jordan Spence because they're thinking of Brant Clark for their long-term offensive defenseman on the right side. I think Fiddler is a perfect underneath Brant Clark type of player. Once Doughty's kind of gone, I think Fiddlers will fit in there really well. Blackhawks 25. Maddie.
So they got a center already. I think I want to kind of stick with forward here. I know we were a little bit down on him when we were doing our ranking, but I kind of like Spence for them.
Yeah.
Just like gut feeling.
I think play wise, it definitely works. Like you could see him as like a middle 6 winger for like ever on that Chicago team.
Yeah, not like super exciting, but like more projectable.
Yeah, and like physical. Like you get your Frank Nazar, you get your Connor Bedard, you get your, in this scenario, what do we get? Frondell and Spence. They're definitely addressing a need. Okay, with the Predators again. So I took Potter. They have Denoyer. They're shaping up to probably want to take someone here. I am going to put Ravensburg in here. I think he's been mocked here a lot by a lot of people. Yeah. Just because classic, you have 3 first-round picks. One might as well be a goalie. But I think it makes sense for Nashville to do this just because, again, your last of your third round, your 3 first-round picks, but then also your UC Saros replacement. They already traded Askarov. Might as well take this bet, and then so the Flyers don't take them. Cool. The Capitals.
I'm gonna go slightly off the board. I mean, Washington's had a lot of success drafting in recent years, and they're kind of flush with really good young forwards. And I don't think this guy will make it much into the second round to where their next pick is. I think they might go with Zorowski there, just because he's a much swingier bet compared to some guys they've taken. I mean, recently they've taken, they've had a bunch of young. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to think of the
Protas.
name. Chris,
the Protas brothers.
Yeah, Parrish. I forgot to say his name.
Tarek Parrott.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Lord. Oh my gosh.
I had the confidence going into that. I was like, oh yeah, I know how to say it.
Yeah. So swingier picks that seem to be panning out,
Mhm.
and I don't think they're going to have any fear if they think a guy, even though he's in an interesting development situation in the MHL where he's scoring a bunch, but it's kind of the MHL is very hard to evaluate, and also who really knows what's going on in Russia. This is a very select number of teams who seem to know. I think Washington's one of them. So I don't know. I think it would be an interesting pick, and they're in a position to kind of take a swing on a guy like that.
Yeah, I feel like they're either going to take a swing with that pick or they're going to trade it.
Right.
Just like where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah, you could totally see that. Again, like for apparently Thomas Turner's going to get traded, so anyone can get traded because I didn't know that was going to happen. Maddie, the Winnipeg Jets at 28, so they're in an interesting position as well. Kind of a Washington situation, but who do you think they're going to take?
Yeah, I kind of want to go defense for them. I'm also looking at a couple of mocks here. Give me Bomidian here. I kind of thought he might be off the board a little earlier. So I wasn't thinking about him as an option for the Jets, but kind of like it. Again, another guy that we seemed like we were maybe a little bit lower on in our ranking, but I could see him going higher than we may have anticipated.
Yeah, again, teams will always draft defensemen way before, like, especially this class is like there are definitely defenseman tiers, and if you're in this position and like Winnipeg, I think needs defensemen because like they don't like Villahinola, they don't like Brad Lambert. Again, not defenseman, but that's besides the point. They don't like their prospects that they have. And they have like a decent amount of forwards and not really a path to get a lot of players playing time. So I think they'll definitely be fine doing that. Especially if you're not taking a college player that's American, you're taking a college player that is European. So you get the benefit of a college player, but then you don't have to be afraid of them hating Winnipeg so much.
I was just gonna say, hopefully they're not scared off by the college situation.
I think Winnipeg is avoiding these national development program guys like immediately here. Even if it's even if Murtaugh or McKinney or whatever at the top of their rankings, like fifth overall picks, that they love these guys. I think they're avoiding them like the plague. Can someone double check that it's the Carolina Hurricanes here? I didn't put this one, and I was guessing off the top of my head.
It is, yeah.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
We know the Canes are a bunch of weirdos. Oh man, I could definitely. No, I think the Canes are gonna love Bill Zanon so fucking much. I think it's an easy pick here at 29. Playoff type player, will battle super hard. Again, not super fast, but like under Rod Brindamore, you could see Zanon like causing a massive headache for every single opponent that they face. So, yeah, I think they would love Zanon at 29. Cole, the Sharks at 30.
I think they might want a defenseman really bad here, even if they're going to have a hard time justifying who's left after Boumediene. I think there's going to be some team that reaches on Brustevich, and it might be the Sharks, just based on kind of what they have in their pipeline. Like, they have some of the high-end guys like Dickinson, but I think you can feel, again, like reasonably confident that Brustevich is going to be a number 4 or 5 in the NHL, even if you look at what he did in London, where he was like a 4 on a junior team, but he's being inflated to this like late first, early second round grade. Because I don't think you see it very often where like a guy in juniors just literally plays like a number 4, number 5, and it's drafted in the late first, early second. But it might happen here because I think he does things that are relatively safe to project to the next level. And he's also in a pretty exceptional development situation in London when you look at who they have on that roster. So
yeah, and he's going to get so many minutes next year too, like with Bonk and Dickinson potentially gone. And Dickinson's for sure gone. And Bonk is obviously gone, but yeah, you'll get an opportunity. Sorry, we're going to say something cool.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Okay. Maddie, the Philadelphia Flyers again at 31.
Back again. Again, like thinking about mixing it up positionally, but like I kind of don't love where we're at with the defensemen. Kind of liking Van Sage.
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about him as sort of a late riser. I don't super see him making it out of the first round. So, gives them a little bit more size than what they've had so far. But yeah, I don't feel great about this pick, but I'm like, I feel like a little bit disoriented in this point of the board.
Yeah, like Vinsagi's very like dependable, I think. And if they're trying to get a physical player, I think Vinsagi's the best option at this point, honestly. Yeah. K-Red Aitchison did go 15th to Vancouver. I have the Calgary Flames here with the last pick of the first round. I think this is a perfect opportunity to take a swing. Again, they took Ben Kindle, so why? Okay, actually, with the Kindle pick, I don't know if they're gonna take this. Oh fuck, that changes a lot. God, they're also a team that Americans don't want to sign to. They could take a defenseman here. I don't know if a Russian would be good. Yeah. Okay. I'm taking Milton Gastrin here. I could have taken a swing, but this is not a swing. I think Gastrin is a very solid bet as a late first guy to be taken, early second at the most. Again, dependable, played pro games. I could see Calgary just loving that. And if you get Mikhail Backlund just to like whisper thoughts in his head for the rest of like his career, then I think he's going to end up being a very good player. So I can see them loving really any of the Swedish guys with this 32nd pick. I could definitely see them taking Eric Nielsen here. Who else? What are the guys? Yes, like not so much Genborg or anything like that, but with this higher pick. Sorry?
I guess like East Wozniak too, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Could use a score a lot too, so I think that's a good pick. But yeah, I'm going with Gastrin here, just so with the center option as well. Cool. The San Jose Sharks with the first pick of the second round. We're halfway through, guys.
Oh my god.
It's been 45 minutes.
Oh god.
Okay.
Are we doing the full, or are we going to like 48 where the Flyers pick?
I'm going to 64, baby.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right. All right. So for the first pick of the second round, I think after they took Misa and I guess Brustevich as well, they, compared to Calgary, they'll feel very confident they can actually take one of those U.S. national team guys. Southern California, baby. They'll love it. But yeah. I would say let's go with Jack Murtaugh here. Okay. I think that a lot can be said about Jack Murtaugh in terms of his like upside, but in San Jose behind Misa, Smith, and Celebrini, there's not going to be a lot of pressure on Murtaugh to like be the guy, of course, and to like play up in an NHL lineup. So he kind of does a lot of things right, and he's kind of a perfect bottom six player, I think, in the NHL. Yeah,
totally. I could see him complimenting like all those players, and even as a winger, like being a middle six winger for a like Misa's wing, even as a second line guy, like potentially developing to that. That's not bad. Like a Misa, Chernyshov, Murtaugh, kind of balancing it out. Ooh, tasty. Okay, Maddie, the Chicago. Sorry, I said that. Chicago Blackhawks.
Do do we want to go kind of spicy yet? I've seen Mason West mocked to them a couple of times. Kind of don't.
Is this just their second pick? They just have third overall and that's it, right?
No, they picked in like the mid-20s.
Oh yeah, 25th.
Yeah.
Spence.
I was gonna say I thought I did another one.
Yeah.
It was too many names.
So are you picking West?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they could take the bet, and like, who wouldn't want to play in Chicago with Bedard, really? So
yeah,
I think he's gonna pick that over playing football, even no matter what.
Yeah, I still feel kind of weird about his overall situation, but like, Chicago's a team that I could see maybe taking a shot on that. Weirdness aside.
Yeah, no, definitely. And here I am again with the Nashville Predators. Jesus, I'm taking all the Preds. Let's go with yeah, I think this is the time for it. Cameron Schmidt. Again, a good swing. So they have Desnoyers as a safe guy. They took Cullen Potter's swing and then Ravensburger, their goalie. I think Cameron Schmidt is a perfect complementary of like, this is our second round. We got what we did all, like, we checked boxes in the first round. Let's take another swing with our second round so that we have just to like clean up kind of thing and have that under our belt. I think Schmidt's a very good option for them, a real goal scorer if you can pan out. Could easily be a Logan Stankoven-esque, not work rate guy, but a skater and a shooter, definitely. So again, we'll see if that pans out. Cole, the Philadelphia Flyers, 36.
I'm very anti-goalie in the first round, but if it comes down to getting the guy they want and they think he's going to go in the second round, I think they might take a goalie here. So I'm going to go with Semyon Frolov.
Yeah.
So he's been inflated a lot recently. And there was a report, there was like an anonymous scout who said that like they have him ranked in the back of the first round. And I would not be surprised if that's the Flyers, just considering their recent history with drafting Russians and their known like scouting presence in Russia compared to a lot of other teams in the league. So I think with 6 top 50 picks now, they're still going to be able to take a diverse number of positions and like risk attributes. So I would say that it wouldn't be a bad selection to go with Frolov here, especially over who's left in terms of the goalies.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an easy kind of connection to make, and 36 overall, especially like if they're not taking 32nd, then or 31st rather, then they're gonna be fine taking a goalie this high. Maddie, the Capitals at 37.
Another guy I feel kind of weird about personally. Prokhorov.
Okay, yeah.
I spell that right. Say that right. Definitely like some risk there, but maybe because I'm more focused on the Caps than I like their development infrastructure situation. I think if anybody could kind of make this work, I would like them to be able to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, like it's in the Prodas mold exactly. Like a big Russian dude that is probably like, there are rumors that, so he plays for, I saw Dylan Griffin tweet about this, EP Prospects Russian scout. Basically like Prokhorov's playing in the program that teams want players to desperately like just get prospects out of. I'm forgetting the name. One guy that immediately just went like, he's now playing the USHL, like, and after getting drafted, like there's a Russian, I forget exactly what the situation is, but there's basically like Prokhorov's part of that connection that teams will try to get out of. Maybe it wasn't Dylan after all. Sorry, I'm getting Russian guys mixed up. But anyways, I think it's perfect in that mold of like Prokhorov is probably going to be coming over also to the CHL. I know that Brantford just traded for the second overall pick in the import draft. That could be one. Kamloops just traded for the first overall pick. That could be Ryabkin or Prokhorov. Like these prospects from overseas and also Russian prospects that are already here, like Ryabkin, I think will definitely be in the CHL, and that's a much easier path to take. And then Prokhorov could use, I think, everything that the CHL teaches him overall, like playing the MHL or trying to make the KHL and barely playing next year. I think that's a good situation, and the Capitals will probably absolutely love that to happen. The Kraken at 38, I am thinking about the team that they already have, and I kind of want, again, we took a defenseman earlier with their pick, with Mertka. So I think they want to go forward here. But they don't. They do love to take swings, but not massive ones. I think I like Nestor still here. Again, big ass. That's not how you spell his name. Big ass player. Oh my god, I can't type. Playing with Muskegon Lumberjacks of the USHL right now. I think that Seattle will love that kind of trajectory and potentially have him playing in college or anything like that. Could even be an AHL guy in a couple of years. Has a big ass K-Rad. Yeah, he does. He probably does. As a hockey player. But yeah, I think that as a top 10 second round pick, I think that's an easy bet to make. Just a big winger that can score goals and play make and has tools to hopefully develop a little bit further. And some teams probably really like him. Cole, with the Buffalo Sabres 39th overall pick, what do you think they're thinking?
Yeah, well, we were talking about 9, how like if Merca gets there, like I don't think they're gonna be able to resist him. I also think if Simon Wong gets to 39, they might not be able to resist him as well. I think I actually like Simon Wong a lot. There's a lot to like about him. He's a 6'4", 6'5" right-handed defenseman. So raw. Like there's no like there's a lot of. He's a big project. That's what I would say. But if he hits, he's going to be kind of like the defenseman that they really like. I guess you can kind of think of Aristo. I don't know if that's a perfect comparison with Wong as it is with Merca. Maybe I don't think it's as easy to make that direct line of thinking there. But I think that they would like a big defenseman, especially after taking, I forget who we took with them, but I think it was a forward at 9. So yeah, I think Wong might be a good pick there.
Sorry, I just spilled my drink.
I was going to say, what's going on over there?
Oh my god. Okay. Simon Wang, perfect. Yeah, I think the Sabres will love that. Yeah, I just spilled it all over my mouse pad. Luckily, some got on my computer, but not a whole lot. Okay. If we shut down, my computer just like combusted. Maddie, you have the Flyers at 40th overall as I try to clean up more of this.
Well, Cole took my pick, so that's unfortunate because I did also want to go defense here. Let's see. Maybe, I don't know. I kind of like Amico. I'm realizing I've never actually heard that name said out loud as I'm trying to say it.
I think it's Amico, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think at this point, like the Flyers have cleaned up on forwards and they've got their goaltender. It's time to mix it up. Yeah.
He's fun too, though. He could be fun. He had a major knee injury in November, so there's been like no real anything with him. There's been no, like, it's been hard to watch him at all because there's like 17 U.S. national team development games that people are working with him. So very, very limited, but he's 6'5", he's big, he can skate, and he's kind of mean when he plays, at least in those 17 games. So it would be fun, especially, and they can definitely take on that risk. Yeah.
Like they've got so many bodies in the pipeline right now. Like they're not really in a rush for him to be ready. Also, at least last year, it seemed like they were definitely trying to prioritize size on the back end with their drafting. So this feels like a sort of continuation of that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Montreal Canadiens at 41. I am taking Will Horkoff. They love their nepotism. So I think, and again, either one of the rare Canadian teams that aren't afraid of taking college players. So I think Will Horkoff at this point is a really good. Sebastian, I love you, Habs fan. Clearly, Cooper Simpson, he's picking high school player. I don't know if it'll be him. Maybe third round, fourth round, they could take him. But yeah, I think Will Horkoff is a really solid bet here. Big, physical, can skate still, real complimentary ass middle six forward, possible center. We'll see. I think it's just an easy option. Islanders at 42. Cole.
I think Riker Lee has fallen a little bit too far. So I would go with Lee here just because the skill, even though he's in the USHL and kind of a difficult league to project out from, I would say that like the Islanders will take a bet on Riker Lee to have that skill translate into another league. So
yeah, and I think what they're building too, they could probably be a little bit more patient. Like Schaefer, I don't think is playing next year. You can just see how Lee develops in the next few years for sure. Maddie, the New York Rangers, 43. Their first pick of the draft. So think about like, do they want to take a swing? Do they want whatever?
Have we had McKinney come off the board yet?
No.
I'm gonna go with that.
Oh yeah, I should probably give you a link to this so you can look at it. I guess other people could follow along too. I'm gonna share it in the chat. Skip. Anyone with a link can view it. Okay. And if anyone in the chat wants to follow along and look at all our picks, there you go. Okay. So Cole McKinney, what do you like about Cole McKinney to the Rangers?
Sorry, I'm opening all my tabs.
It's okay. Is it because he goes to Michigan?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's completing the bit. If you were going to take if I didn't take Horkoff, I bet you'd be all over that.
Yeah, I was leaning that way.
Okay. Detroit Red Wings. I pulled out all my hockey hats that I have. So Detroit Red Wings, 44th overall. I know that they want a decent like bet on like who do they pick? They picked Victor Eklund. That's such a good pick. So then they could go a little bit more safe here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go Kurban Limitov. Try to create a little bit of the Russian 5 factor again. Defenseman. I think I like him as like a defenseman in this range, definitely. I think Detroit would too. And just try to bet on them being such a big draw that you'd easily sign and come over here. So I think Detroit's the place for Limitov to land. Cole, the Anaheim Ducks.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't gone yet, but I'm going to go with Eric Nielsen.
Shit, I forgot.
Yeah, I think that the Ducks they're obviously flush with young talent, and he'll be able to develop either as a center or a wing, I guess, behind the young centers they have there. So I will behind Carlson and McTavish. So I like Nielsen there. I think that's a good upside play for them as well, especially if he's as low as 45. My gosh.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I love that for the Ducks. I hate that. Maddie the Mammoth, Utah Mammoth, 46.
I'm going to stick in the NTDP a little while longer. I'm going to go Moore here. He's still on board, right?
Moore. Yeah.
Again, not like a super, super flashy guy, but kind of plays like a good utility game, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And like they could, I think they're looking again for players that are dependable and projectable. I think Wilmore is that perfect kind of bet to make. The Vancouver Canucks. So we had them taking Aitchison. I think now they want to take a little bit more of a swing, but not too much. I think someone. He's Wozniak here. I think it's they took kind of a similar player in like Ramaki, like a shoot first-ish Swede. Again, that could just be like they might trade Lekkernmäki, so they replace him and see him on the team in a few years. But I think they need center more than anything, and East Wozniak's definitely not that. So I think at center they go a little bit safe-ish and get a toolsy guy in Luca Romano. I've really started to like Luca Romano as I've dug it more, and like his name's come up a lot more as a second round guy. I think he's definitely gonna stick down center. Super. I think in the prospect poll that Scott Wheeler just put out, he was like one of the more underrated prospects that people are naming. That like prospects other named were like no one's talking about Luca Romano. He's sick. So I think Vancouver will definitely like that, and he's definitely, I think, at this point of the draft, you're getting a Luke Misa light. I think basically like, not Michael Misa, Luke Misa, like the Flames pick. Just dependable, toolsy guy, good skater. I think he's a real kind of option here for the Canucks at 47. Cole, you have the Flyers last pick. Is it? Yeah, last pick of the second round. Last pick that we're mocking here at 48.
Ooh, I mean, so we've taken Hagens. Oh my gosh, Hagens, Coots,
Frolov,
Vinsagi,
and Vince,
and Mikko.
Frolov.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go forward here, and I'm gonna go with. I guess I'm gonna go with East Wozniak. I think they don't have a lot of shoot first guys in their pipeline right now, and it would make a lot of sense if he's down at 48 to grab a guy with one of the better shots in the draft. That wouldn't be so shocking. I also think they might go with, in reality, they might actually go with the guy like Eddie Genborg, just because you look at him, he really might just be Garnet Hathaway, and that's fun. But they just based on how he plays, he hits everything, but it's like they're effective hits, and he's real fun to watch. But I think they bet on skill with their forward, especially with the more project types they've taken in our mock with Amico and Frolov. So yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I like that. It's wrapping up a neat little package, a balanced package. Maddie, the Montreal Canadiens at 49.
Somebody who I'm like a little bit surprised is still on the board. Cole just mentioned Genborg. I think could be an interesting fit there. Oh my god, I just lost all my things. Yeah.
Why?
Again, just another like. I'm losing all my things. I don't know. I lost my tab.
I mean,
sorry.
He's definitely like we're talking about balance throughout this whole thing, and like balancing a player like for the future lineup, and then also like in the prospect pool. I think Montreal doesn't have a lot of physical forwards without like skill. Like Hage is like not the biggest guy, but like projects super well. You have obviously your top guys like Demidov and younger guys, Caulfield and everything like that. In Montreal, I think Genborg is a very projectable guy to be a bottom six player. I think Montreal is definitely looking at that. So it makes sense. Second round pick, might as well get a guy that hits. The New Jersey Devils, their first pick of the draft, 50th overall. Of course, with the first pick being a second round pick, like it poses a lot of questions of like, do you want to take a swing? Do you want a guy to be up there in skill. I could go multiple ways with this. I don't even know who's the Devils prospect. Like, who do they take? Do they have anyone that they took? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, it's fuck. Who do they take
last year?
Yeah,
they took Silayev.
Yes. Giant dude.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll take a defenseman here. There's not a whole lot available, really. Like, you're talking about like a Jacob Brombach of the USHL as like a pure shutdown defender guy. I think they want size. They don't want to be run over by teams, especially if they're thinking about playoffs for future. I think here is where they take. Oh, but they're like. Sorry, I'm thinking about the Devils pick so much. I think they take Matthew Guard. Big ass. I'll just say big ass center. Big ass center. Reggie Rebels, WHL. I think, again, projectable, decent middle six, maybe center. Yeah, I think it's a real simple, just like take a big guy, and then we'll see how he pans out, and if he can be added to the team's third line in 3 years or 4 years or whatever. Boston Bruins, Cole at 51.
Yeah, I mean, we took Martin with them at 7, which feels like the most chalk Bruins pick ever. But I think they might. I also think it's very Bruins sometimes. I think Gustav Hillstrom might be a very Bruins type pick. Safe Swedish center, especially he kind of fits into that like he's like a lower level Gastrine, I would say, where you feel like he might be a 3C. Does a lot of little things well, very good on both ends of the puck. I think that they might just go center down the middle with a guy in Martin that might be better on the wing, and still might not have the highest upside, but then Hillstrom at 51, kind of to have that bottom six, like feeling pretty confident that that's the guy.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially center, like Boston needs that so badly. So having Hillstrom and Martin, I think it is very Bruins, but again, I think that's an easy kind of decision to make. Maddie with the Minnesota Wild at 52. Again, a team picking first in the second round. What do you think they're thinking? That's
really stressing me out that it's their first pick.
I mean, and it's Judd Brackett, so he's gonna like try to overthink this, and he'll probably like snag someone that'll be like a star in a little bit.
This is maybe a little bit off board, but I really like Adam Bannock.
Okay, yeah. Why do you like Adam Bannock?
He's just fun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, like, and Wild will eventually need to replace their small guy, Rossi. So it makes sense.
And then trade him like 5 years into his career.
Adam Bannock is going to get traded in 5 years, but bank on it. San Jose Sharks at 53. I like a lot of players at this level. So who do they pick? Do they have a defenseman? Misa?
No.
They don't have a defenseman yet.
Oh, wait. San Jose? Excuse me.
Yes. San Jose, sorry.
Yeah, I took Brustevich with them. Yeah.
But it's just Brustevich. And then they took and Jack Murtaugh. So I think they could swing a little bit. But again, they probably want size too. They do like the OHL, so I think I'm going to go for a Christian Epperson out of here over Ager. So they're further along on their path. Played in Saginaw, so Michael Misa teammate. And Argur Chernichev teammate. I think that's an easy kind of bet to make. Second round pick is probably where Epperson could go, or a third round pick. Again, overager, decently sized winger. I think it's just a solid bet to make, especially with Kasper Halttunen out of London as also a San Jose prospect. That's kind of a similar-ish player. Middle six winger, scoring, big, skating, all those things. covered with Eberson. So I think that's a good partnership. Cole, the Flames at 54.
Ooh. So we took Gastrine and Kindle with them. So that's a pretty good mix of like high upside and then I think like a pretty decent floor with Gastrine. I think they're gonna stay forward. I think they'll go with Cavan, Benjamin Cavan. Or Kevin, I don't know how to say it last name.
I like that.
Just because he's a smaller guy, but he has very, 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 very high end skill. I would say I like him a lot. Him and Banak are really fun to me. I mean, Kavan is not the same size as Banak, of course, but
like weight probably. Like
there's a projectable I think frame there with Kavan where you think he might be able to be something at the next level. So I think he's fairly top 6 or bust. Maybe not entirely. I think he could carve out a third line role maybe, but I think for where the Flames are, they need some forwards in that system, I would say. So I'm gonna go with Kavan, and they tripled down on like the forward picks.
Yeah, I like that. Like again, like super high upside bet. And we've heard, I think it was Chris Peters saying that like teams really starting to like Ben Kavan. Could go even higher than this. Just a super bet on skill as if he gets the pace up and everything. Because I just wrote Ben Kavan draft board profile at broadstreethockey.com. A lot of people are just saying that's like if he gets his pace up and skating a little bit better, then like all the skill, all the sense, and everything will just be he'll be a top 6 guy no matter what. Maddie, the Nashville Predators at 55. They've taken a lot of players. We have them taking Denoyer. Then they took the combination of Potter and Ravensburger in the first round, and then a Cameron Schmidt bet. So what do you think they're thinking here with their second round pick?
It's complicated since they got Ravensburger earlier, but I kind of really like the fit with Ivan Kovic.
Okay, yeah.
Just because like I mean, he's sort of front of mind for me because I just wrote about him also over at broadstreethockey.com. But like, if anybody is going to take a shot on a slightly undersized goaltender, you got to think it's going to be the Predators, right?
Yeah. Like, just try to get another Justus Saros, basically.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, they might take two goaltenders, like just like really shotgun blast this, like get the 2 best DHL goalies and then see whichever pans out. So it could definitely work. I'm thinking with the Lightning here. Again, first pick. They're gonna take someone that like is probably an all-star in like 5 years, just because. And I think, oh man, they have the culture fit enough to handle Ryabkin? Does Julian Brisebois have enough handle to be like, look here, kid. Do you want to be a member of the team? We have all these cups and whatever. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick an Ethan Zada here. Niagara Ice Dog center. I really, really like him as a later second round guy. Solid. Needs to work on his skating a little bit, but one of those players in the OHL that I think would eventually rise up a lot of boards once like he could just explode in his draft +1. Niagara is a very shit team. Led his team at scoring still. So I think it's a very, very like guy that teams would probably watch and love and understand that he's not putting up all these points because of these reasons. Not a Luchenko way of like he has an incredible tool that he uses and uses to explode, but I think it's just a very nice bet on a smart hockey player. Cole, the Seattle Kraken at 57. We're almost done. We're almost there, guys. We can see the end.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Wojtek. I think it's how his name is a hard one to say. Wojtek Sihar. I don't know how to say his last name or his first name. I have no idea. He's a Euro guy. He's the top player out of the Czech Republic this year. And he is real fun to watch. He's a smaller guy. He doesn't have any, like, I would say, like, extremely high end puck skills, but he scored at a higher rate in Czech juniors than pretty much anyone has in the last bunch of years. So I think that Seattle could give him a lot of time to develop over there further, and then bring him over when he's ready. So I'm going to go with Cihar there. Cihar. There you go.
Got it. That's such a Kraken pick. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. I think they're gonna take someone that we like a total bet with this pick. That's the one pick that I could just look at and be like, yeah, they're gonna take someone that's like ranked 150th, but then we'll just looking back will be incredible.
Yeah.
The Vegas Golden Knights, Maddie, at 58.
Is this also their first pick?
Yeah.
Oh my god, why does this keep happening to me?
I don't even know if, like, Vegas has Trevor Connolly and that's it, really, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like somebody is going to have taken Ryabkin by now.
Oh my god. Vegas has the Ryabkin spot?
I know. I'm like, I don't love that.
Let's just ask. Oh god. Let's just ask for trouble.
I know.
I mean, that'd be highly entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. But, like, again, culture of, like, all we do is win here. So shit off or get off.
They've got some kind of magic going on over there. I don't know. But I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna commit to it.
That's so funny. Oh god, I would love to see this. I mean, they could, like, Kelly McCrimmon could, like, work some magic, like you said. Like, it's a very Trevor Connolly pick of, like, working with the troubled teenager. Again, out of the USHL. Yeah. Like, maybe. God. The Penguins. Who's the highest ranked Greyhound? Oh, I'm just kidding.
But, like, actually though.
But actually. You know who I love here? Oh no, they already took a defenseman. I don't know if they're taking so many defensemen. They took Smith and Lakovic. And I think that's it, right? Yeah. Because they don't have their other second. Okay. Ooh. So Smith and Lakovic, high-end guys that you're hoping to be top 6, top 4 guys. So they could take a little bit of a either solid bet to be a high floor guy, or they could really take a swing. I like. They have a decent, like, they're building out a kind of steady forward base. I have 2 defensemen in mind, and I think they are going to take, Sean Barnhill out of the USHL, another USHL guy. But I think Vegas and Wes Clark, we saw with the Leafs. Sorry, did I say Vegas? Dubas. Dubas and Wes Clark. We saw with the Leafs, they don't mind taking their USHL guys, especially even out of, like, free agency too. I think Sean Barnhill is a very easy pick. Yeah, someone Michael just said Leaf size C or D. Sean Barnhill is like 6'5", I think. Let me see here. 6'5", 205 pounds, but skates incredibly well. I think for his size, especially, like, one of the better skating big guys out, like, at this range, and probably in the whole draft. Like, at 6'5", he could probably skate just slightly worse than Jackson Smith and Burtka. Like, but it's just getting that extra tool set. I really like Barnhill, so it sucks that he's going to the Penguins, but yeah, I think that's someone Dubas would really like. The Ducks at 60, Cole.
I think after going O'Brien, Nielsen, they're going to go defenseman. I don't know if this was the other guy Thomas was thinking of, but Jacob Rombach there.
It wasn't,
not, maybe not, but it was not. Okay. Yeah, I think Jacob Rombach would be a good one there. He's 6'6". He's a decent skater. He's kind of very imposing. I think that Anaheim might prefer that on their line, especially with the team that I feel like Pat Verbeek is constructing. I almost feel as if my gut feel is that he kind of thinks that the team needs to be the Panthers in a way. And so I do wonder if a big 6'6" defenseman would appeal to him down the line. So I'm going to go with Ron back there.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. And now we're kind of getting to that tier defenseman where you're like, oh, it's the second round and we haven't taken a defenseman yet, or like someone that's more like a bottom guy. I think you're getting to that grouping. Maddie, the Bruins, 61.
Sticking sort of with the theme a little bit. I'm gonna go Charlie Trethewey.
That was the other guy I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, like, good and mobile, but also just mean. Feels like kind of a Bruins pick.
Yeah, totally. Again, Charlie.
Oh,
Charlie.
yeah.
Yeah, easy. That's Bruins all the way. I have the Chicago Blackhawks at 62nd overall. I think they would want to balance out their picks. So let's see who they have again. They're taking a Mason West, taking Anton Frondel. They've addressed a lot of the size factors because they've taken West and Malcolm Spence, Mason West. I think that's it. So I think they could take a swing here. I think they're set on like projectable talent players. I see them as like a screw it, we're gonna take LJ Moody type of team. Like they've taken so many picks, so many players that's like, even if this guy is like an ECHL guy, whatever, it's 62nd overall. I like Mooney. He has a lot of hurdles in front of him, but I think Chicago is trying to develop players really well. And I think that is a solid, again, a player that they could just like, sure, like we'll just keep him and see what he is in 4 years. So I think that's what they're thinking. Cole, again, with the Devils at 63.
Yeah. The Devils draft is weird because their draft starts at 51 or whatever it was. So they went with guard. I'm going to go with a goalie. I'm going to go with Peter Andrianov there. I think he's a smaller goalie, but he's very athletic. He's one of the more athletic goalies in the class. He's like 5'11", 6-footish. Wait, no, he's not. He's like 6'1". Excuse me. Anyways,
Still small.
He's a bit bigger than that, but he's still fairly small. And he's over in Russia right now. He's long been like considered the top goalie over in Russia this year, but then Frolov has kind of supplanted him in the last month or so. So I think they'll go goalie there. I think they could use it in their pipeline and just in general. I mean, after they have Markstrom for the next bit of time here. But yeah, I'm going to go with Andrianov there for a years down the line project, at least 6-ish years down the line. Especially because he just re-upped with his Russian team until 2030. So yeah, that's about 5 years down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, just about. Yeah, I think I could see the Devils doing that. Maddie, the final pick of the second round and of our 2025 BSH mock draft. We are here. Who are the Toronto Maple Leafs selecting with the 64th overall pick? And that, again, first selection of the draft because they have Florida's second round pick. Who are they taking? They've taken Bud Danford recently. Easton Cowan, a lot of OHL guys with their first pick.
I'm going a little off board here, but it just feels like kind of a slam dunk. Medvedev from London.
Yeah. Okay. So the goalie out of London. London Knight going to Toronto, obviously. Why is that the reasoning?
I mean, it always seems like they need goaltending help. So, like, I don't know how, like, stocked their pipeline is. I think
it's like Hildeby, and that's it, really. Hildeby and the other Russian guy. They have another Russian.
Yeah.
Starts with an A. I forget. Arkia or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're in kind of a weird spot where I feel like they could use a lot, but also this is a guy that I'm sure they've seen a whole lot of.
Yeah.
With Cowan being there. Yeah, I don't know. Just like gut feeling. Could be an option for them.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, and that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. And watching for almost an hour and a half of here. We got through some of our struggles. Again, in the I'll put it in the comment section. But it's also in the live chat if you're still watching. The full sheet, you can look at it. Again, we've talked about our thought process for a lot of those picks, but I think it's going to be a fun weekend. There's some swigs made. There's some obvious team connections here. I think that's it. I don't know if anyone else has any parting thoughts for this.
I'm out of words to say.
Yeah. As you can tell by the second round, it's kind of nobody knows what's going to happen. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like a lot of players that are left, like a decent amount. Like you have your Stockstelius, you have your Philip Ekberg as a later round guy, you have your Malte Vass, I can see as a second round guy. Yeah, but again, this is the NHL draft. You never know what's going to happen, but we have mocked it, and if this is exactly how it plays out, then we're geniuses. Everyone should hire us. A little plug section here. Like and subscribe down below, please. If you're still watching this, it's going to be really exciting over here at Broad Street Hockey for all the draft stuff. We're doing so many things. Maybe tonight I'm doing a watch along of a shift by shift of Porter Montone. I don't know that yet. Maybe like at 10 p.m. tonight. I don't know. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more. So like and subscribe here. Read broadstreethockey.com. We've written 46 draft profiles of players. It's going to be 47 later today, and that's probably it. And then we have endless lists of our top guys that you might fall, what the Flyers might be able to do. So much draft content. I think we put over like 60 articles probably by the end of draft day. It's a lot of content just specifically about the drafts. And if you're watching this, then obviously you'll care about the draft. So read broadstreethockey.com, subscribe for just $5 a month, and you'll be able to read everything that we put out. Trevor Zegras just got traded. We'll be putting out a fuckload of stuff about that trade. Yeah, so read broadstreethockey.com, follow us on socials. I don't know if anyone else has any words, but no, okay. Again, like and subscribe here on this channel. Listen to the podcast. Subscribe on Apple. Links down below in the comment section right now. And yeah, Broad Street Hockey forever. Go Flyers.